Hello, Chillify, I'm ready. My sister was hailed as a once-in-a-century programming prodigy. As for me, I decided to give up, refusing to participate in the competition. At first, my parents didn't even care about me, but now they were in a panic. Lena, you suddenly pulled out. What about your sister? My parents started to fret, and even their most doted-on eldest daughter, the teenage prodigy Clara, lost her composure. Lena, you can't just quit because you're not feeling well. In my previous life, my sister had stolen the programming code I worked so hard to design many times during competitions. My parents not only turned a blind eye, but even planned to sacrifice my future to pave the way for her. Reborn, I not only flatly refused to participate, but also secretly contacted reporters in advance, helping the teenage prodigy receive congratulations from all over social media. At the same time, I received an admission notice from Kingbay, a top university. Clara, you love the title of genius, don't you? I want to see how you'll manage once everything is exposed. Lena, are you really pulling out of the programming competition? My mother's voice suddenly rang in my ears, pulling me back to reality. It was then that I realized I had been reborn. My mother put on a facade of concern, her tone displeased. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You suddenly withdraw. What about the 30,000 yuan prize money? Your father, your sister, and I have already booked tickets to Sanya. We have to think about the ticket costs. I lay on the bed, suppressing a weak stomachache, and replied, Mom, I'm not well. I can't take part this time. My father stood by, his face annoyed, and said coldly, It's just gastritis. Take some painkillers and you'll be fine. Hearing those words again, my heart turned cold and numb. I had once studied diligently, working hard on my own to get into a key high school, but my parents despised me just because I wasn't articulate. Meanwhile, my sweet, talented sister knew how to present herself in front of others, so she was showered with affection from a young age. From the day my sister uploaded a video pretending to self-study programming and became famous, my parents became even more convinced that if they made her a star, the family would make a fortune. In my previous life, a tech company in the city organized an online programming competition. Any contestant who passed the qualifiers would receive 30,000 yuan in prize money. My sister and I both registered, but right before the competition, I suffered from acute gastritis, vomiting uncontrollably. My parents didn't care about my health, forcing me to stay home and complete the exam at all costs. When the results were announced, I discovered my sister's submission was identical to mine. Faced with public questioning, I tried my best to explain, but my parents stepped forward and declared, It's true, she plagiarized it. My sister even acted out on a live stream, scolding me for being immoral. Didn't you see how sick she was that day? How could she have completed the exam? Lena didn't want to submit a blank paper, so she copied my code. It's all because we didn't raise her well. From a young age, I was thrown into the eye of the storm, criticized and humiliated wherever I went. Meanwhile, my sister, thanks to her teenage prodigy title, received countless speaking invitations. My parents started to see hope as she gained fame. Fearing I would expose the truth, they forced me to drop out of school, keeping me at home, turning me into my sister's shadow, helping her with programming assignments day and night. I cried out in despair, questioning my parents why they treated me this way, but my mother only replied coldly, Clara is beautiful and smarter than you. If we push her to be famous, do you know how much money the family will make? I cried and screamed. Those codes were all written by me. I can make money for the family later too. My father sneered. Clara is already making money now. Why wait for you? In the end, I died in that cramped basement from psychological trauma and depression, carrying a deep resentment. Reborn, this time I want to secretly destroy their genius dream. Lena, your parents are talking to you. Why are you spacing out? If it had been before, I would have tried everything to get my parents' attention, but now I weakly shook my head. Mom, Dad, I'm really tired. I can't compete. My mother glared at me angrily. Lena, what kind of act are you putting on? I think you're deliberately feigning illness. My father also snorted coldly. Useless. What can you do anyway? Just then, Clara, who had been standing outside the door, walked in. She feigned gentleness and said, Lena, Mom and Dad just want what's best for you. Don't pretend to be sick and upset them. Then she deliberately raised her voice. Mom, even if Lena can't participate, I will definitely try my best to get into the top tier. Clara's obedient and understanding attitude completely satisfied my parents. My mother smiled radiantly. You truly are much better than Lena. In my parents' eyes, usefulness was the sole criterion for deciding whether to treat their children well. Clearly, I was not the useful child they wanted. Due to lack of rest, the next morning my gastritis worsened, accompanied by a prolonged fever. I had to wake up early to go to the hospital for an IV drip. Meanwhile, my mother also woke up early to prepare breakfast for Clara. "Clara, you have a competition today, don't be nervous." Clara sneered faintly. "Don't worry, Mom. Even if my sister doesn't participate, with Mr. Evans here, I'm sure I'll win first place." Mr. Evans was the head of the programming training center we attended in my previous life. He took money from my parents and, in front of the media, falsely accused me of plagiarizing Clara's work. Truly, geniuses like Clara are once-in-a-century talents. Guiding such a student is a great honor for me. As for her younger sister, some children only know how to rely on copying others to satisfy their vanity. She only scored 83 out of 150 in the basic programming exam. It's so bad that even a beginner who studied for a few days wouldn't get such a low score. I remembered how in my previous life, to ensure Clara's victory, my parents had paid Mr. Evans to cheat. Even though this online programming competition attracted many industry experts with strict procedures, the online format created a huge opportunity for cheating. Passing the qualifiers would get you noticed by prestigious universities, but this no longer concerned me. I clutched my aching stomach and slowly walked out of the house, leaving behind the cheerful laughter of my parents and Clara. I hoped in this life I would never have to be involved with this family again. As soon as I left home, I immediately sent an application for boarding to my homeroom teacher. The further away from this strange family, the better. However, just as I arrived at the hospital, I received a call from Mr. Evans. "Lena, how's your health? Can you still come and participate in the competition now? You're the student I had the highest hopes for. It would be such a pity to miss this opportunity." In my previous life, Mr. Evans pretended to be very concerned about me, making me drop my guard. But after the plagiarism incident, he unhesitatingly sided with Clara, even criticizing me on camera. "Lena, I never imagined you would be such a despicable plagiarist. It's a disgrace to the programming industry." Back to reality, hearing Mr. Evans' words, I simply replied, "I'm on an IV drip at the hospital. I can't participate." He feigned concern with a few more questions, then hung up. I guessed he was now anxiously worried about Clara, but since he was involved in the cheating, it would be risky for him to come forward himself. But those matters no longer concerned me. After my IV drip, I returned home. Clara had already finished her competition and was back. An online competition only requires a computer to participate, but Clara insisted on going to the training center, even though there were no classes today. Clearly, only Mr. Evans was there, and the reason why was self-evident. My mother brought out a plate of strawberries and placed it in front of Clara, asking tenderly, "My good daughter, how was the competition today?" "Did everything go smoothly?" Clara leaned her head on my mother's shoulder and replied softly, "Don't worry, Mom. I will definitely bring glory to our family. I won't disappoint your expectations." After saying that, she turned to look at me, a challenging smile on her face. Too bad Lena couldn't participate this time, huh? Remembering what I had been through in my previous life, I didn't bother to argue but directly undermined her by feigning flattery. "Oh no. How could I be as smart as you, Clara? Even if I did compete, I'd probably just be a backdrop." Clara was slightly surprised, not expecting me to praise her like that. "Lena, do you really think so?" I smiled faintly. "Yes. After all, you're the hope of our entire family. I need to learn more from you." My mother nodded, satisfied. "It's good that you think that way. Learn from your sister, and in the future, you must contribute more to the family." Yes, that's right. But I had already contacted many local reporters in advance, preparing to launch a wave of publicity for my sister as a teenage programming prodigy. When the results were announced, they would flock to interview her. As expected, a few days later, the results of the online programming competition were announced. Clara, who had never seriously studied programming, came in first and easily advanced to the finals of this year's competition. My parents, seeing the results on the computer screen, were overjoyed, grinning from ear to ear. "Clara, you got first place, and you received 30,000 yuan in prize money." My father excitedly looked at the list on the computer. "I heard the finals have a total prize fund of 1 million yuan. If you win again, our family will never have to worry about food and drink for life. Clara, you truly bring honor to our family. Just like in my previous life, seeing Clara win a prize, my parents began to dream of getting rich. Seeing that the time was ripe, I quickly picked up my phone and contacted the reporters one by one. A vocational high school girl like Clara overcoming a host of university students to take the top spot, isn't that an inspiring story? Reporters flocked to my house, scrambling for exclusive interviews with Clara. In front of the cameras, Clara feigned humility, saying it was all thanks to her teacher's guidance. But behind the scenes, she was incredibly smug. She even screenshotted the results and posted them on social media with the caption, "I just have to make a light move, and first place is mine." When she received an interview request from the national television station, Clara was so thrilled she hugged my mother, cooing, "Mom, after this interview I'm sure I'll be super famous. Then I'll be a top celebrity." However, when Mr. Evans heard the news, he appeared extremely worried, calling my parents repeatedly, advising them to decline the interview. Even though Clara won first place, it'll be troublesome if anything gets exposed. It's best to be a little humble. My parents had invested a lot of effort into Clara, day and night hoping she would make it big so the whole family could transform into dragons. How could they bear to miss such a good opportunity? My father held the phone and spoke loudly to Mr. Evans. "Mr. Evans, you don't need to worry. Clara has been smart since she was little. She definitely won't be exposed. Besides, participating in interviews is the best way to promote her. By then, your center will also attract more students. Don't worry, our family has dealt with these things many times. Handling them is not a problem." Hearing my father say that Clara would help promote the training center, Mr. Evans felt more relieved. "Then, please ask Clara to say some good words for the center." After the interview, the video was immediately uploaded online. In the video, Clara, wearing a pristine white dress, stood in front of a blackboard writing complex programming formulas with chalk. Then she turned, smiled, and looked into the camera. "Hello everyone, I'm Clara, a 12th grade student, 17 years old this year. I've loved programming since I was a child. Before joining the training center, I self-studied programming for 2 years." Next, the reporter's voice rang out in the video. This competition had many contestants from all over the world, and the competition was very fierce. During the process, did you feel any anxiety or pressure? Hearing the question, Clara lightly covered her mouth and smiled. I was surprised, but not shocked, because besides eating and sleeping, I spent most of my time studying programming. The reporter's continuous praise made Clara feel as if she was soaring. Facing the camera, she casually declared, "I only need to glance at the programming assignments at the training center to know how to do them. I feel they have no value. I prefer to work on more challenging programming tasks." Hearing her answer, the reporters all showed expressions of admiration, praising her endlessly. Unbelievable that Clara, so young, has achieved such great success. Truly, the younger generation is formidable. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mr. Evans from the training center was not as relaxed as Clara. His hand trembled as he held a glass of water. The reporter smiled and asked, "Mr. Evans, what do you think about Clara winning first place in today's competition?" Mr. Evans swallowed nervously and replied, "Clara is indeed a very diligent and hardworking student, but I think everyone shouldn't label her as a teenage prodigy or pay too much attention to her. Let her have a quiet space to develop." Under the interview video, the comment section was filled with praise. "Oh my God, I can't believe there's someone here who topped a global programming competition. So impressive. Clara is not only beautiful, but also so talented. I must send this video to my daughter to watch. Mr. Evans is too humble. I also want my child to learn programming to bring glory to our country in the future." Overnight, from an ordinary vocational high school student, Clara became a famous teenage prodigy everywhere. My father was incredibly proud, boasting to everyone he met about Clara's intelligence. He even encouraged Clara to use her fame to live stream on social media, sharing her study experiences. "You're a genius now. If you just live stream, you're sure to attract many viewers. Once you have many followers, we can sell things and make money." Clara's first live stream attracted an enormous number of viewers, quickly climbing to the top of the rankings. However, when someone asked, "How can one become as excellent as you?" Clara arrogantly replied to the camera, "To be like me, you first need to have a brain like mine. I hardly needed to study anything and still came in first." These self-important statements quickly ignited a wave of controversy online. At first, people were blinded by the genius title, but gradually they sobered up and began to doubt. No offense to vocational schools, but if she's really a genius, why didn't she attend a regular high school? This person is too arrogant. Don't jump to conclusions. Are there no talented people in vocational schools? Seeing the skepticism begin to spread, I took the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. I created a new account and left a comment under the video. Actually, haven't you noticed? In the interview video, all the programming formulas this genius wrote are wrong. That comment immediately made the discussion explode. These simple programming formulas, and she wrote them wrong? This genius is a fake? Someone who disliked Clara's arrogance stepped forward to criticize. I know this girl. She never attended classes normally. Last time, she didn't even get enough points to pass the programming exam. How could she come in first? Of course, some people defended her. I think some people are just too jealous. If you're not good yourself, you try to slander a girl. The debate continued until an anonymous account posted a video exposing Clara. The global programming competition was actually taken by the training center teacher. This teenage prodigy is just a promotional gimmick. I posted this information myself. When Clara saw this information, she panicked and ran to her parents, asking worriedly, "Mom, what should we do now?" My mother anxiously paced around. Those people online are truly idle. How she takes a test is none of their business. They're clearly just jealous. Mr. Evans also called, his voice tense. Things are getting really noisy online right now. I think it's best to temporarily close the live stream account. We'll decide what to do after public opinion calms down. But my father didn't show any worry. What's there to be afraid of? They don't have any evidence. It's all just guesswork. This only proves that Clara has become famous. We must take advantage of this opportunity to solidify her genius image. Initially, they planned for Clara to livestream more and tell more study stories to build her image, but I enthusiastically suggested that she should teach more programming knowledge. Sister, you're a genius, so you'll definitely easily gain the trust of people online who know nothing about programming. You're so good, just say a few vague words and they'll believe you immediately. I intentionally instigated Clara to deceive the audience, waiting for knowledgeable programmers to appear, at which point she would expose herself. Unexpectedly, right at the beginning of the livestream, Clara made a serious mistake. She pointed at the Rafa formula and insisted on calling it Pascal. Moreover, while writing code, she continuously made elementary errors. When asked about the format of the exam she submitted in the qualifying round, Clara stammered and equivocated. This was no different from confirming the previous suspicions were true. Clara herself pushed herself into the eye of the online public opinion storm. Criticisms poured in rapidly. Is this what you call a genius? Clara is like a sieve, pierced everywhere. But instead of feeling remorse, Clara glared and retorted. She even argued directly with netizens during the livestream. So what if I said something wrong? Do you people even understand what programming is? You're all just trying to cause trouble. Get out of my livestream. What's wrong with me attending a vocational high school? I, a vocational high school student, came in first in the qualifiers. Jealousy is useless. By the time my parents realized the problem, the situation had escalated beyond control. Clara's livestream was reported by netizens, her account was locked, and she was banned from broadcasting. The next day, the programming competition organizers contacted Clara, announcing that there were too many complaints about the loopholes in the online competition's supervision. To ensure fairness, next week we will hold an in-person programming competition in the city. The entire process will be live-streamed and closely monitored. The final score will be calculated based on the results of this round. Hearing the news, my parents slumped onto the sofa, worried, and called Mr. Evans to discuss. My mother was flustered. What do we do now? Our family worked so hard to get a genius. Are we just going to let everything fall apart? My father frowned, taking deep drags from his cigarette. Mr. Evans looked around for a moment, finally resting his eyes on me. After a few seconds, he said, "Don't worry too much. The in-person competition isn't hard to solve. Lena is well again. She can definitely participate." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's eyes in the family turned to me. My mother immediately smiled radiantly. "That's right, Lena is very good at programming. She's sure to win a prize." She quickly walked over to me, took my hand, and said softly, "Lena, last time you missed the online competition because you weren't well. This time, don't miss the opportunity again. How about you compete with your sister? My mother's eyes shone with anticipation, but in reality, she just wanted Clara to copy my code during the competition, reenacting the tragedy of my previous life. Mr. Evans also softly advised, "I have great faith in you, Lena. You have great talent in programming. Don't miss this opportunity." Seeing their hopeful eyes, I smiled and agreed. After Mr. Evans left, I returned to my room and began preparing for the in-person programming competition. As soon as I closed the door, I heard Clara's disgruntled voice downstairs. "Mom, Dad, even if Lena refuses to compete, I have a way to win the prize. Why beg her?" My mother sighed. "Clara, last time, Mr. Evans took the online competition for you to get first place. This time, it's an in-person competition, and it will definitely be more closely monitored. We'll have Lena compete, and during the exam, you just use her code. Even if we're caught, our whole family will simultaneously say she copied yours." My father nodded in agreement. "That's right. Then we'll blame all the online criticism on Lena. She'll bear all the bad names, and you'll still be the genius everyone admires." Hearing that, Clara smiled contentedly, snuggling into my mother's arms. "Mom, Dad, thank you for always thinking of me." My mother lovingly looked at her and said gently, "Clara, your father and I have sacrificed a lot for you. You must repay us many times over later." At home, sitting upstairs, I heard all those words and couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. My parents and Clara had no idea that before going upstairs, I had placed my phone behind a vase in the living room. Their entire conversation about having Clara copy my code had been recorded, not missing a single word. Fearing I would withdraw from the competition at the last minute, early the next morning, Mr. Evans personally drove Clara and me to the venue for the in-person competition. Due to the previous online scandal, many reporters had been waiting outside the hall since early morning. As soon as they saw Clara, they immediately rushed over to interview her. "Clara, have the recent online controversies affected you? What do you want to say regarding people's criticism?" While I wasn't paying attention, the reporters pushed and shoved, causing me to be pushed aside. Mr. Evans quickly stepped forward to explain on Clara's behalf. "We're here to participate in the competition. Please don't disrupt the order before the exam." But Clara seemed to enjoy the attention. She faced the camera with pride and said, "I'm participating in this in-person competition to prove once again that I deserve to be first, to silence those who doubt me." After saying that, Clara walked into the examination room with an arrogant attitude, ignoring Mr. Evans behind her, who was trying to advise her to be more humble. The in-person programming competition began. Everything happened exactly as it did in my previous life. Clara and I sat near each other, thanks to Mr. Evans' covert arrangement. Clara submitted her exam with code identical to mine. When she walked out of the examination room, Clara was incredibly smug. As for Mr. Evans, who had always praised me before, he ignored me and focused only on flattering Clara. "I knew it, Clara. You definitely did it." Upon arriving home, my mother immediately went to Clara and asked excitedly, "Mr. Evans said everything went well this time, right?" Clara glanced at me provocatively, then replied, "Don't worry, Mom. Everything is fine." My parents were overjoyed. They believed that this time, Clara had certainly become a teenage prodigy. My father even called various management companies everywhere. Then he excitedly announced in front of the whole family, "A company wants to sign a contract with Clara. They said they'll invest heavily to train Clara and help her enter the entertainment industry." My mother jumped for joy. "Wonderful. Finally, someone in our family is famous. Clara, you make me so proud." On the day the competition results were announced, my mother even invited the television station to our house for an interview, using the reason of witnessing the birth of a teenage prodigy. In the living room, reporters crowded everywhere, some even starting live streams, waiting for the results to be announced. However, when the time came, the website didn't directly display the scores, but instead released an announcement. Clara and Lena submitted exam papers with identical code. The entire room fell silent, but my parents appeared calm, as if they had prepared for this. They immediately turned towards the camera, placing all the blame on me. "We can testify that Lena copied her sister's work. Clara has been very smart since childhood, while Lena has always been jealous and often played dirty tricks behind her sister's back." But before my parents could finish speaking, the website uploaded another video. That video recorded the entire scene of my parents telling Clara to copy my code, while also plotting to shift all responsibility onto me. The whole room erupted in shock. The reporters who were interviewing lowered their heads to watch the video on their phones, then stepped forward, holding their phones in front of my parents, and asked, "Excuse me, do you two have any explanation for this video?" The radiant smile on my mother's face instantly froze. She stood stunned in place. A few seconds later, she screamed, "Where did this video come from? This is clearly slander." In reality, I had cleverly embedded that video into the code I submitted in the competition. As long as the code was run, the video would automatically play. During the process, I don't know how the judges and organizers felt after watching this video, but they clearly decided to make it public for everyone to see. The organizers must have also been unable to tolerate Clara's plagiarism. Clara frantically shouted, "This is nonsense. How can you embed a video in programming code? I never added any such video to my exam. This must be fake. It's an edited video. This must be Lena's doing." However, that code was submitted by her own hand in the in-person exam room. It was completely impossible to fake unless she admitted to copying my code. Clara turned to look at me, her eyes filled with confusion and disbelief. I ignored her gaze and calmly said, "Enough with the noise, isn't it?" Just then my mother, as if going mad, screamed, "Lena, you're determined to destroy this whole family. Destroy us, aren't you?" But at the same moment, a phone in the room rang, playing the video. In the video, my mother's voice clearly rang out, "Clara, by then, just copy Lena's code. She's so good, she's sure to get first prize. Then your father and I will testify that she plagiarized your work. That way, no one will believe her." The entire room fell into chaos. My father angrily stood up, threatening to beat me to death. Meanwhile, Clara was surrounded by reporters, bombarded with questions she had no idea how to answer. I just coldly glanced at my mother and said, "Mom, you are the one who wanted to destroy me." After saying that, I turned around and left the house that night without looking back. That night, the story of Clara's cheating and programming plagiarism became a hot topic on social media. The girl once invited by schools as a speaker, the teenage prodigy, admired by all, turned into a despised plagiarist overnight. The video of her programming code, including the recorded video of my parents' conspiracy, quickly threw my entire family into a storm of criticism. When I opened my phone, I saw countless comments from netizens. "I told you this genius was fake, but nobody believed me. Unbelievable, cheating in a competition and copying her own sister's code. But I wonder, how did she get first place in the online competition? I heard her sister didn't even participate in the online competition. This family is too biased, making the younger daughter bear the blame for the older daughter. What were they thinking?" This incident caused such a severe impact that the Ministry of Education had to establish a special investigation team to clarify the entire situation of the competition. Mr. Evans' Programming Training Center was also surrounded by reporters day after day for interviews. Mr. Evans was so terrified that he constantly called, begging me, "Lena, please, don't destroy me and your sister anymore." Hearing those words, I only found them amusing. The cheaters and plagiarizers are you and them, not me. You brought about your own destruction. It has nothing to do with me. When the special investigation team came to my house and the training center to verify, Mr. Evans couldn't stand the pressure and confessed the entire truth. They also went to my school to investigate further, and I truthfully provided everything I knew. Finally, the farce of Genius Clara came to an end. After the investigation team completed their work, they held a press conference, publicly disclosing the entire cause and course of events. Only then did everyone learn the truth. In the online competition, Mr. Evans had indeed taken the exam for Clara to help her win first place. As a result, Mr. Evans' teaching license was revoked, and his programming training center was shut down. As for Clara, due to her plagiarism in the in-person competition, all her competition achievements were canceled. The genius my parents were once so proud of had fallen to rock bottom in just a few days. With the truth exposed, netizens began to discuss. "I heard Lena is the real academic ace. She always tops her class and is very good at programming. A genius should have a clear path, not just fall from the sky like this." The one who scored 83 points in the programming exam was actually Clara, yet she refused to admit it. Now, some people will do anything for money. My parents were severely cursed by netizens. Even when they went to the market, they were pointed at behind their backs. For a long time, they were like rats fleeing across the street, living in fear and ridicule. From being praised by tens of thousands, they were now trampled by tens of thousands. This enormous psychological disparity completely shattered them. During that time, my parents also tried to storm into my school to lecture me, but were stopped by security. They were furious, standing at the school gate, yelling and cursing loudly. "Disrespectful, you're truly ungrateful, you've destroyed this whole family. People like you deserve to die." As a result, the security guard only needed one phone call to have both of them taken to the police station for self-reflection. Initially, I worried that my classmates would be like the netizens in my previous life, failing to distinguish right from wrong and starting to ostracize me. But on the contrary, after school, the entire class came to comfort me. "Lena, don't be sad. We all know you're the victim in this. Don't be afraid. If your parents dare to come and bully you again, we'll all stand up and protect you." Some even worried I didn't have enough money to live, so they offered me their pocket money. I was deeply moved and sincerely thanked all my classmates, but I didn't accept the money. After all, with my scholarship, I could afford to cover my high school expenses. Because I had frequently participated in programming competitions before and achieved many good results, before the college entrance exam, my school nominated me to attend the programming training camp at Qingbei, two of China's top universities. At the training camp, we had to go through intensive programming exercises every day. However, as long as I passed the tests, I would have the opportunity to be directly admitted to Qingbei. Although it was very tough, all the trainees tried their best to achieve their goals. Coincidentally, the main teacher in charge of this training camp was Mr. Thompson, a judge from a competition I had previously participated in. Meeting Mr. Thompson again, I couldn't help but be happy. He had also heard about my situation and said, "Lena, I've heard everything about you. Your parents and sister were truly outrageous. Not only did they copy your hard work, but also framed you. It's truly unacceptable." He looked at me seriously and added, "But don't worry, everything in this training camp is based on ability. All tests are fair, open, and transparent." Hearing him say that, I felt much more at ease. After the plagiarism scandal and fierce criticism from netizens, Clara had to live in seclusion, not daring to step out of the house for a long time. Her school issued an all-school reprimand and even forced her to drop out due to her negative influence. Being arrogant and image-conscious, Clara couldn't endure this shock. She cried and complained at home every day. As for Mr. Evans, his programming training center had been shut down and his reputation ruined. However, he remained unwilling to give up. Hearing about the Qingbei programming training camp, Mr. Evans tried every possible way to get Clara in, seeing it as a last chance to salvage his reputation. As long as Clara got into the training camp, he could find an excuse to continue promoting her, trying to turn the situation around. Therefore, Mr. Evans brought Clara and waited outside the training camp gate for several days, trying to persuade Mr. Thompson to accept her. That day, I was about to go out to buy dinner when I accidentally ran into Mr. Evans. As soon as he saw me, he angrily shouted, "Lena, how dare you follow us all the way here? What other tricks are you planning? Get out now, or I won't be polite." I coldly retorted, "Someone with no professional ethics, bringing a student who specializes in copying here to cause trouble. Aren't you afraid of being kicked out by security?" Hearing that, Clara angrily stepped out and cursed, "What does it have to do with you? This training camp isn't your house. You're just a child abandoned by your parents. What right do you have to talk down to me?" Hearing those words, my emotions didn't waver. I just coldly replied, "It doesn't matter. But anyway, I am an official student of this training camp. As for you, Clara, are you a student here?" That one sentence left Clara speechless for a long time. Just then, Mr. Evans looked behind me, his eyes lighting up. "Mr. Thompson, you finally came out." Clara immediately put on a fake smile and stepped forward to greet him. "Hello, Mr. Thompson, I'm Clara, also someone who loves programming." Behind Mr. Thompson, there were two security guards. Mr. Evans bowed deeply, his voice full of flattery. "Mr. Thompson, I've already sent you a message. This child is very good. I want to recommend her for the programming training camp." But Mr. Thompson completely ignored both of them. He turned to me and seriously instructed, "Didn't you say you were going to buy food? After you eat, come back and write code immediately. Your time is extremely precious now." Mr. Thompson's instructions stiffened Mr. Evans's and Clara's faces. They could only stare blankly at the scene before them. Clara turned to ask Mr. Evans, her voice full of surprise. How can this be? How can Lena be a student at the training camp? Unable to contain her anger, Clara suddenly spoke loudly to Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, don't let Lena deceive you. She's a liar who even likes to copy others. If you don't believe me, just ask Mr. Evans. Mr. Thompson looked at Clara with cold indifference and replied, You are Clara, aren't you? As far as I know, you are the one who cheated in the programming competition. This matter has been publicly announced by the organizers. Everyone knows. I don't think you are qualified to enter the programming training camp at all. Hearing these words, Mr. Evans completely collapsed. He pointed at me and angrily shouted, Did she give you money? Is that why you accepted her here? Mr. Thompson got angry and said sternly, Lena's ability has been recognized by this entire training camp. If you dare to utter another word of nonsense, I will immediately call the police. People like you and this girl will never set foot in the King Bay training camp for your entire lives. As soon as Mr. Thompson's words fell, the two security guards immediately stepped forward, each pulling one of them away. Clara, in a panic, cried and screamed loudly, Mr. Thompson, please give me a chance. I really love programming. Her screams attracted the attention of those around. Many stopped and took out their phones to record videos and take pictures. Isn't that the famous teenage prodigy from online recently? Why is she causing trouble at the King Bay training camp gate like this? She probably wants to make a scene so they'll let her in. Seeing this situation, Clara fearfully covered her face with her hands and screamed, Don't take pictures. Stop taking pictures. In the end, photos of Clara causing a disturbance at the King Bay training camp quickly spread across social media. She immediately became a controversial figure. Criticizing comments flooded online. Isn't this the teenage prodigy everyone praised before? Now she's crying and begging at the King Bay gate? What kind of genius? More like a habitual plagiarist. Clara was furious, but could do nothing but cry at home day after day. As for my parents, seeing that she had completely lost her value, they turned cold towards her, no longer doting on her as before. They began to change tactics, returning to flatter me. They constantly changed their phone numbers to call me, and each time their words were sweet. Lena, Mom and Dad know we were wrong. We shouldn't have treated you unfairly before. Now you're the most outstanding child in our family. Come home quickly. Mom and Dad will truly love you. But each time I received a call, I blocked another number. When they could no longer beg me, they turned to scolding Clara, exactly as they had once treated me. Clara, who was already mentally broken from public criticism, now had to endure her parents' blame at home, making her even more unstable. Under immense mental pressure, she began to become psychotic. Sometimes she claimed to be a reborn prodigy, other times she thought she was a top social media star. Once, I happened to see Clara's latest image online and was stunned. She was wearing ragged clothes, her face so dirty I could no longer recognize her former beauty. She even squatted on the ground, picking up trash to eat. Later, while walking down the street, I unexpectedly met an old neighbor, Mrs. Zhao. From Mrs. Zhao's account, I learned about my parents' situation after I left home. Ever since I exposed Clara's plagiarism, my parents complained every day, looking gloomy and constantly blaming each other. My mother blamed my father for investing all his heart and soul into Clara, only for her to ultimately fail to make any money for the family. And my father blamed my mother for coming up with the bad idea of having Clara study programming, only for her to be caught plagiarizing and bring shame upon the whole family. Every 3 days they had a small quarrel, and every 5 days a big fight. The family, which once had some harmony, was now completely shattered. Most seriously, once they even fought physically in the house, eventually both ending up hospitalized. Meanwhile, Mr. Evans, after losing his job and his training center being shut down, repeatedly came to my parents' house to cause trouble. He believed that my parents had forced him to cheat, which led him to this miserable situation, so he came to demand justice. As a result, during a heated argument, my father became so angry that he took a knife and stabbed Mr. Evans. My father was eventually arrested and imprisoned for intentional assault, while Mr. Evans was hospitalized with severe injuries and vowed to sue my father until he rotted in jail. I didn't want to get involved in their dog-eat-dog drama. After all, thanks to my excellent performance at the training camp, I had been directly admitted to King Bay University. The day I was preparing to leave for university on a street corner, I happened to meet my mother again. This time, I was sitting in a car while she stood huddled on the roadside. Seeing me, my mother's face lit up with joy, and she called out, "Lena, Lena, don't leave me." But I just coldly rolled up the car window and told the driver to keep going. My mother chased after the car, running and shouting, "Lena, Lena, don't you need your mother anymore?" In my previous life, I had cried many times, begging my parents not to ruin my life, but in their eyes, there was only money, not me. In this life, I also didn't look back. As the car slowly drove away, that dilapidated house and chaotic family receded further and further, while I moved forward towards a future that belonged entirely to me.